Hi guys, here we are on the range at People's Golf Club, and what I'm going to talk about is another little waggle or little characteristic that people adopt in their dress position. So what will happen is when they are in the dress position, they have something called a forward press. So forward press is basically something that starts the backswing. So it's something, if you look at any good player, they all have good quality traits that they do consistently. You're not compared to your average amateur golfer. But anyway, if you're struggling with the game, give this a shot about how to understand your swing and how to start off the swing. So let's talk about the forward press. So what I mean by the forward press is a movement of the hands and the arms just before we start the backswing. So just before we start, take away, so it's almost a dynamic movement, a little bump forward with our wrists, and as we take the club back, we make contact. But anyway, our wrists, arms and hands move in one motion, so none of this where the wrists are flicking. That's what a lot of people do when they aren't used to starting off the golf swing in the correct motion. So we want to take the club back, arm, left arm, shoulder and club in the one sequence, the one motion. So as we come back down, we are in synchronization with our lower body, so upper body and lower body are in synchronization. So if we take the club back, forward press, our body's turning one unit, and as we come back down, so if we restore this at the top of the backswing, our movements are going to be correct, and it will help us adopt a good sequence for the major movements in the body, or the sequences within the golf swing. So what we need to sort of get into a position of doing is, providing that we keep the club low to the ground, so we want to keep the club low to the ground, bump our hands forwards, like so, movement of the hands before we start the backswing. So we come back down, we want one motion. So if we pick up the club like this, we're just using the wrist, we're going to lose a lot of power because it's on quite a steep swing path. So if we almost push our hands forward, so further back, so you can actually see what I'm doing, wrist forward, then providing we don't pick the club up, so we need to keep the club low to the ground and make a full shoulder turn. So by that, allowing that movement of the wrists and hands will help you make a full shoulder turn. So as we come back down, we want to be on the correct swing arc. So if we take the club, so Ben Hogan used to add a waggle into his swing, because it felt like the waggle was basically an indentation of the actual stroke, or the actual swing. So basically it was a pathway to hit the correct shot. So add a forward press. I want to take the club back slow and low to the ground, because that will allow me to go move on the correct swing arc. If I take it on the correct swing arc, I'll come back down on the correct swing arc. So another thing we want to do is feel like that we're turning. So to achieve a certain level of success within your own game, you need to understand backswing. A lot of players swing over the top is because they don't understand how to start backswing. They'll swing too flat to start off with. Anything that goes too flat has to come back over the plane to make contact. That's where you shank it, or you come quite steep. So you need, in order for me to create any power, I need to drop back inside, body's so far ahead of the golf ball, club's lagging behind, shoulders are at sync, and I'm going to, effectively, I could shank it from there. So what we need to do is feel like that we're taking the club back in one motion. So left arm, fulcrum point of the golf swing's left shoulder to club setting us to strike. So if we take the club back, then we want to turn our shoulders and body, so bump forward the leading edge, left arm, want to turn forward, but it will feel like to start off with your club face is open. It will appear that because you're not used to that movement. So if it's completely different, then you've changed something as to your existing technique. So if you take the club back, it'll feel like the club face is open, but it's not actually, it's pretty neutral. I come back down, need to rotate our hands through. So that almost forward press, I'll keep the club face in a square position. So if I've got a little forward press in my swing, it might not be consistent half the time, but ball flight's pretty neutral, hit a wee fade. So I put the club forward with my hands, that allows me to understand that movement. So I get that swing thought in my head starting the backswing. So another thing you need to focus on is the grip. So my hands aren't rolling over, I'm taking the club back, so my hands aren't, club isn't rolling inside, or it's rolling outside the plane, so my hands are pretty neutral on the grip. So I don't want my hands to go underneath the grip or on top of the grip. So if they change in tandem with the club face will be open or closed. Open providing you've got a weak grip, and closed providing you've got a strong grip. So what we need to do is feel like our grip remains the same. So always have a consistent grip and a comfortable grip. If your grip's not comfortable, then you're not going to be comfortable with the shot. Simple. So if we need to hands remain on the grip. The last three fingers, pressure point in the left hand, they need to remain on the grip, and you want to make contact with the three fingers remaining on the club. So pressure point on the left hand, if I was to take my last three fingers off the grip, so if I was to take them, I should be able to balance the club with my thumb and forefinger, providing I have the correct grip pressure. So thanks for listening. If you've got any tips on the video, that's a video of forward press. Let me know your thoughts, and subscribe to my channel at JManGolf, or follow me on Twitter and Facebook at JManGolf. Thank you.